Remember Benjamin Glaze from American Idol? Yeah, he ended up in jail. Benjamin Glaze walked into his American Idol audition in 2018 expecting a simple performance. He hoped the judges might smile, maybe offer advice, maybe give him a short chance to sing. Instead, Katy Perry leaned across the table, called him closer, and kissed him without warning. That one moment launched him into instant internet fame, and the world suddenly knew his name before they knew his music. The clip spread everywhere. People argued, joked, debated, and replayed it for weeks. The kiss became a talking point about consent and celebrity influence, yet Benjamin stood in the middle of it with confusion instead of pride. He later told the New York Times the kiss was unwanted but not traumatic, a statement that surprised many and shifted the conversation again. And beneath all the noise, something darker was already forming in the background. He became known as the boy who received his first kiss from a superstar, not as a musician, not as a songwriter, not as a dreamer fighting for a chance. Every spotlight he once hoped for now came with a shadow. People at work recognized him. Strangers joked with him. The internet framed him as entertainment instead of a person, and slowly the label attached to him felt more like a trap than a memory. When the viral storm finally faded, Benjamin slipped out of the conversation as quickly as he entered it. Fame did not turn into a career. He returned to part-time jobs. He tried writing music again, but every attempt felt drowned by a moment he never asked for. His audition was supposed to open doors, yet instead it closed him into an identity he could not escape. And while the world forgot him, the pressure inside him kept growing quietly. Friends later revealed he felt torn between embarrassment and unwanted recognition, stuck in a strange limbo where he was too famous to be anonymous, but too insignificant to be successful. He battled loneliness while trying to rebuild his confidence. He battled financial stress while trying to find purpose. And every time someone mentioned that kiss, it pulled him backward. His life kept shrinking into a single viral moment until he no longer recognized the person he used to be. This emotional collapse deepened over the years, slipping into places no one around him fully understood. He hid his stress. He hid the weight he carried. He hid the guilt of not living up to the expectations people projected onto him. And in that hidden space, his private behavior took a darker turn. It was the kind of turn that begins quietly, grows privately, and then erupts publicly in a way that shocks everyone. And that eruption came in late 2024. During what should have been a routine counseling session, Benjamin reportedly confessed to struggling with an addiction involving explicit digital content connected to minors. The counselor listened, processed, and made the legally required decision to contact authorities. That single phone call set a chain reaction into motion that he could never stop, and the next knock on his door would change his life permanently. The Tulsa Police Sexual Predator and Digital Evidence Unit launched a full forensic investigation. They obtained a search warrant. They seized his smartphone. Officers expected a small number of files, possibly isolated. Instead, they discovered more than 700 images and videos of child sexual abuse material. The volume shocked investigators who often dealt with cases of this nature. They described the evidence as overwhelming, disturbing, and impossible to overlook. And from that moment on, the case was no longer private or quiet. News broke across the internet within hours. The headline was everywhere. American Idol contestant who kissed Katy Perry arrested. The entertainment world reopened a memory it thought was harmless and combined it with a criminal charge that horrified viewers. The innocent audition clip suddenly looked different. The kiss looked different. The entire story felt rewritten in the public's mind. And people wanted to know how someone went from a televised moment of awkward sweetness to a felony arrest. Benjamin was taken into custody. His mugshot circulated. His past videos resurfaced. The internet that once joked about his kiss now dissected every detail of his downfall. His arrest became a national conversation. People who remembered him as a shy cashier with a guitar now struggled to understand the person facing such charges. And the question everyone whispered was the same: how did this happen to him? The investigation concluded quickly. The evidence was clear. The case built itself. And within months, the mistakes he made in private became consequences he would face in public. His life, once defined by a kiss that felt too big for him, was now defined by a crime that felt too heavy for anyone to ignore. And the world waited to see how far the fall would go. The news of Benjamin Glaze's arrest moved faster than anyone expected. One moment the internet was quiet, and the next, his name was everywhere, stamped across entertainment headlines in bold letters that made people stop scrolling. Former American Idol contestant arrested for aggravated possession of child sexual abuse material. The words spread with alarming speed, and the world that once laughed at his audition suddenly froze in disbelief. Entertainment outlets tied the arrest back to the famous Katy Perry kiss, reviving a moment the world had not thought about in years. Reporters replayed the clip with a new tone, no longer amused, no longer casual. What once felt like an awkward television stunt now looked like a disturbing prequel to a much darker story. And the shift in public perspective was instant. People questioned everything they thought they knew about the shy boy on the Idol stage. Fans who remembered him as the soft-spoken teenager with nervous hands and a quiet voice reacted with confusion. How could someone so timid be involved in something so severe? Yet while the public wrestled with disbelief, police offered none. Investigators described the digital evidence as overwhelming. The volume of files, the ages of the victims, the nature of the material. Every detail painted a picture that stunned even officers accustomed to difficult cases. And the shock only deepened as the legal process began to unfold. At this point, the story had grown beyond entertainment gossip. It was a criminal case with national attention, a story the media could not ignore and fans could not process. Benjamin, who once stood in front of celebrity judges trying to prove he belonged on a stage, now stood before a justice system with no sympathy and no spotlight. And what came next would permanently alter the direction of his life. When 2025 arrived, the courtroom became the center of everything. Benjamin pleaded guilty, choosing to avoid a long trial that would expose every detail of the case. His decision confirmed what investigators already believed. It also stripped away any remaining hope that the outcome might soften. The courtroom fell silent as prosecutors outlined the severity of the charges. They presented the number of files, the explicit content, the ages involved, and the length of time the material had been in his possession. And the judge listened with a gravity that signaled what was coming. Subscribe now so you don't miss the next layer of this investigation. Sentencing day felt like a final door closing. The judge issued a 25-year sentence, with 15 years to be served inside prison and the remaining 10 suspended under strict supervision. Mandatory sex offender registration followed immediately. The sentence landed with a weight that erased any memory of the shy teenager who once trembled during his audition. When the gavel struck, the old Benjamin Glaze disappeared entirely. What remained was a man facing a decade and a half behind bars, confined not just by walls, but by consequences that would follow him for the rest of his life. And the world watched the fall of someone it once viewed with harmless curiosity. But the consequences did not end with prison time. Even after release, Benjamin will step into a life filled with restrictions that few people fully understand. His movements will be supervised. His internet access will be banned or heavily monitored. Every job he considers will require approval. Every residence he chooses will be examined. He will be barred from performing near minors, barred from traveling freely, barred from rebuilding a career without legal scrutiny. And the life waiting for him outside may feel smaller than the cell he leaves behind. The viral moment that once made him famous became a haunting contrast to the rest of his story. That audition clip, once silly and lighthearted, now sits beside headlines that carry the weight of irreversible harm. The kiss that once launched him into public. Conversation now stands as the final reminder of how drastically a life can shift within a few years. And the audience that once joked about his innocence now sees the tragic depth of his downfall. His past and present no longer look connected, yet they remain tied forever in the public memory. Benjamin's journey forces uncomfortable questions about the pressures young contestants face, how when fame arrives suddenly and disappears just as fast. It raises questions about loneliness, identity, addiction, and the shadows that form when public attention fades. People wonder how someone who once stood under bright stage lights ended up inside a prison cell. And still, beneath every question lies the reality that one moment on national television can return years later in ways no one ever imagined. His story is no longer about a kiss on a talent show. It is no longer about a shy teenager seeking a shot at music. It is the story of a life that unraveled slowly, silently, and then catastrophically. And it leaves the world watching the aftermath of a fall that began with fame and ended with consequences that will last a lifetime.